All right, welcome everybody to our Brightspace Roundtable at eCoach Day, March 7th, 2024. My name is Darren Towers from Instructional Technology. I'll be one of your facilitators today. I'm the LMS specialist for the school district, along with Morgan Thompson. Our other LMS specialist is here as well. And really, we'll just be doing the easy part. We're going to ask these four awesome educators who are using Brightspace in many different ways. We're just going to throw them some questions and they're going to answer them and hopefully give you some insight as to how they're using Brightspace and how you could be using Brightspace in your classroom under some of the same circumstances. We have an elementary, a middle, and two high school educators with us today. So I'm going to hand it over to them to introduce themselves. If you could just share name, where you teach, and what you teach, and we'll go from there. We'll start with Jeremy.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy, and I've been working at Northeast High School in the science department, teaching chemistry and ninth grade environmental science with co-taught classes with the environmental science.
Thank you. Amanda?
I'm Amanda, and I teach at Rivera Beach Elementary, so right around the corner. And my stepkids go to Northeast, so it makes me wonder if you know them. But I teach second grade, so I teach everything.
Excellent. Thanks for being here. Next, we have Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex Tugas. I do 7th grade language arts at Annapolis Middle School.
Thanks for being here. And finally, we have Michael.
Hi, I'm Mike. I've been teaching at Broadneck. I teach various tech ed classes like CAD and robotics, and I also teach computer science.
Excellent. All right. Well, again, we thank all of you for being here, and we're going to get started with our first question for our roundtable today. And it's really just kind of a broad one. Is how do you use Brightspace to really engage your students in your instruction and learning? And anybody who wants to start, please do.
I wrote things on a clipboard, so I'll just get going and reread these. So with Brightspace, a lot of it is getting the students comfortable using it the way I want them to. So something I tried this year that I think was fairly successful was I started using game maps, which is a function in your teacher tools or course admin. And you basically build literally a map, and you put a road on it, and it can have forks and all this, and you can add little activities to it, unlimited amounts, and you can connect them in various ways. So you could have different pathways or just one linear path. And at each stop, you can insert a Brightspace activity, a web link or an image, or even a quiz, and they cannot move on to the next stop in the map until they complete that activity. Now, I haven't found a way to limit their progress based on a score, like on a quiz. So they could get every question wrong, and then it still allows them to move on. But if you're doing stuff like how you how to upload assignments or just anything like that, general questions, you could put a series of little 4 or 5 question quizzes and have them complete the game map and have like an award as one of the triggers for finishing it. And it gets them engaged. It's low risk, so even though whatever they score on the game map, I'll make the final quiz on the last quiz on the game map like count in gradebook, so to speak. So it just seemed a nice way for them to be at their own pace, and I can give them information that I want them to do, and then assess it at the end. And so it's kind of self-paced, and you just facilitate.
Thanks. Any of our other panelists want to chime in on this one? Engaging
I'll chime in.
Thanks.
A lot of what I teach, I like to have my students kind of go through self-paced. I haven't gone full game theme yet, but they go through the different units self-paced, and I'll set the release conditions so they have to complete certain things before other things come up. And one of the things I really started doing this year is, like, for each unit or each module, I'll have a checklist. so they know how many things, how many items. I'll list each item that should be in that unit or module, and that way they know if something should have come up if they didn't do something right to trigger it. That's one thing that I do.
Awesome. Amanda or Alex?
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I use
No, go ahead.
Brightspace, or try to use it as like a one-stop shop that, you know, they know they're going to need their Chromebooks every day, at least for part of class. And it's just kind of getting them used to the routine, particularly for middle school. I don't know if it'll let me share for a minute. Can I take over for a minute? Is that okay? So something
Go
that
for it.
works really well for me is the normal kind of weekly layout. And then I even put like placeholders for homework, even if it's in person on paper. This was a novel project. And then our online language arts platform is called StudySync. And that is part of the integration with Brightspace. So I put them right in there. I have 2 different reading levels. So I use groups sometimes within the co-talk class to kind of assign to both groups of students. But that really helps me stay organized and the students stay organized. And I've been using the weekly agenda ever since that came out from you guys, and love it. Keeps me, you know, kind of engaged. Graded assignments with a check, and then all the weeks are down here. And I literally just copy and paste from week to week and go from there. So all of that is accessible right from content or the activity feed. Oh, let me stop sharing.
All right, Amanda, do you want to add to that question?
Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to click unmute and spacebar kept muting me again. So since I'm with the younger kids, a lot of it is getting them just used to using it. And getting them comfortable using different aspects of it. I know one thing, like with engagement, I've given students choice and have done like access to choice boards too, so that when they're completing assignment, they can do it on a Brightspace assignment. We can link a Google assignment to it, or they can do it paper-based. So I try to give them that engagement piece where they can work on it in different ways and things like that. I also like to put up different interests too, as well. Like if one of my students expresses an interest in something, maybe I can go find a mystery science video so that they have access and can go into it in more depth, and then we can discuss it when we have, you know, our community circle time and discuss what we're interested in, things like that. So we do a lot of different things. My kids have gotten pretty good with using it.
Very
Excellent.
cool. Just kind of recapping what I heard you guys touch on. In that question, I heard a lot about personalized learning, a lot about differentiation. And one thing that I kind of appreciated that Alex alluded to was accountability. The use not only keeps students engaged, but it definitely encourages them, you know, to be prepared for learning, have that Chromebook, and makes these wonderful resources available. So our next question, which you may have incorporated some into question 1, what are some routines and norms you have established with your students in navigating and using Brightspace?
So I know with my friends, and I start using technology fairly early with my second graders, they know it takes a bit of time for us to get to, okay, go to the Brightspace, go to the waffle, have to kind of describe the waffle, even though they know what waffles are, and go to our class. And then I also teach them how to pin the classes, because not all the specials teachers use them. And I only use one of my classes so that they don't have to go everywhere for it. Even though it populates all of the classes for Power School. And my friends know content And then I also keep it organized. I used to do it weekly, but now I've kind of done it by subject and then a little bit more organized in there. And I also use emojis to keep things. So my kids know to look for certain emojis to, okay, this is important. This is what I need to do now. Or this is a later activity type thing.
So I actually, I teach in a computer lab, so the kids come in and they log in right away. I don't got to worry about the Chromebooks or anything. But like I said earlier, all of my stuff is on Brightspace. That's where they go to get all of my lesson presentations. If there's presentations, anything I would give them, there's notes of it on Brightspace for them. All the assignments that I collect are collected through Brightspace. I teach them at the beginning of the course how to go in and where to see the feedback that I leave on Brightspace. I teach them how to go under assignments to get that. And I show them how to attach their Google account so that they can, turn assignments directly in from their Google Drive without needing to do the download, upload. And at the beginning of the school year, it is surprising how many students don't know how to do that.
I'm going to share one more thing now. Sorry. I have it here. It's just easier. My biggest thing that I enjoy doing is taking screenshots of where things are and putting them on the slides. That's been my best organizational thing, particularly for my co-talk kiddos who can't sign on quickly, who just need a little extra love of where do I click? So I'll sometimes, this was a project we did with the differentiation point. I did either paper, like a newspaper or a newspaper template online, and just put the screenshot. Where do I go? Point to the board, and so that really helps me. So I just do Windows Shift S, right, for screenshot or whatever it is.
Piggybacking on that, there's a widget for your home screen that's called an activity feed, and you can link your Brightspace assignments and content stuff. And I'll do that on occasions like this time of year where we're neck deep in the second semester and the content's built up, and sometimes kids have a hard time navigating where the assignment is. The screenshot's awesome. But I also, if I know we're going to work on it in class, I can just make an activity feed that links it. So as soon as they open the course, they just click it right there, and then it jumps right in. And then you can delete them. So they will pile up, but you can just make them kind of relevant for that day. Just, again, it helps alleviate the time you spend helping every kid navigate to it. And I also been using the media library a lot. I've been building videos on how to upload a document or how-tos, and I save them there, and then when I build an assignment I can link it super easy. I can link it to the assignment, and then the excuse of I didn't know how to upload it is kind of irrelevant because it's part of the assignment package, and your media library stays with you year after year. You don't have to copy it from a course. It's just kind of quicker to share it through the media library. And if I ever do an assignment breakdown, major assignments where I've talked it out, I'll upload them there too. And then again, I don't have to go searching for it in the next year when I repeat the stuff.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of media library, but what I really liked with this question is I heard from second grade all the way through high school the importance of visuals and teaching students routines. I know whenever I taught middle school, whatever routines we established in quarter one, we could not leave them in quarter one. It does take time and repetition, and I know that the work that you guys are putting in to establish those visuals and routines, that's going to stay with your students beyond your classes. All right, we are Already running low on time, but we are on to question 3. How can you use Brightspace to support differentiated instruction with respect to content delivery?
I feel like everyone's answer is going to be release conditions and groups. They're so helpful. I even make groups for like absent days. If like Polar Bear Plunge, there's a ton of kids out, I'll make a group just of those kids and maybe assign them an alternative assignment or a special message, extra content, whatever it is, lab numbers, and it just makes it a lot easier. And the kids are starting to realize they don't have to wait until they come back to school to get their work. They can get access to it before then. So I didn't realize how many things you can put release conditions on. You can put them on announcements and all sorts of stuff. So they're super useful.
I do the groups as well. And it's definitely helped with specific assignments per levels. um, and I kind of talked about it in the beginning where I do give my kids a chance to complete an assignment in different ways as well, and using different ways on Brightspace and connecting to the different applications that we can also use. So, yeah.
I don't really have anything to add, but yeah, I use the groups and the release conditions. I like to embed a lot of different types of media into my content. So a lot of times there's video clips or there's images, and I don't know if that kind of touches upon I differentiated instruction a little bit. You know, it's not just all text. I like to do it right in Brightspace because then it's there. It's not like something that I just had up on the screen one day. That way, if they want to go back and look at an image or a video clip, they have access to it.
I've
Yeah,
also, oops, sorry to interrupt. I also focus on, in most of the nav bars, there's a resource tab, and there's a lot of like self-help links there for students. And I've been trying to direct them to use that as a resource instead of email me or ask me. There's, literally Brightspace help, the student digital tools links. So I've been trying to make that noticeable to my students.
Yeah, anything we can do to kind of grow that student independence is important. And Mike, I love that you touched on how you embed media. One of the things that I really enjoy too is using things that you've already used and referenced in your content, and making that dynamic in your assessments, whether it's linking to a previous video in a rubric saying, hey, revisit this. I just love that you can refer back to things that you've already used and built, and use that as part of your reteaching. And that kind of goes hand in hand with scaffolding that student independence as well. All right. So our last question, what are some of the ways that you have used Brightspace to engage families?
So my families are not active getting on Brightspace, even with showing them and explaining how to use the Brightspace for families. I do post our monthly newsletter that we do on the not the activity. What's the other one? Announcements. Whichever one the parents could see. For a couple parents that actually do use it. But we actually don't have a whole lot of parent engagement, even though we've, pushed it out there, tried to get them to get on and things like that.
I've started messing around with the intelligent agent, and I did a PT last semester, but I figured out ways to almost automatically generate emails, personalized emails home for various either classroom management, achievement, missing work kind of stuff. And once you set them up, that it's pretty helpful. But then it's emails, but it definitely saves time. I just wish it was closer to be automatic, but that seemed to work. And you can link HTML files and things that have best practices, especially if it's classroom management. And that seemed to help connect with parents.
Yeah, I think we've tried to get students and families into Family Academy, which I know was separate from Brightspace, but kind of related. There was a push earlier in the year. We have our bilingual facilitator trying to do that. And just one thing we do, and Morgan helped us with this, is the customized widgets in the on the homepage. And I don't know if families are seeing it as much, but we're a community school, so we have like our community calendar on there, staff resources. Some students and families can see, some only staff can see, but that has helped too. And then for funding, we need them to put in their data on, do they want to do a summer camp or something? And so they go in and do their question of the week for survey data, right on, their Brightspace page, like the Annapolis Middle one. So that would be more students and maybe by extension families. But I guess we're working on that.
All right, so we kind of covered the questions that I had pre-planned, but if anybody in the chat has specific questions from the panelists, or if they said something that kind of sparked your interest, we do have a few more minutes, and I will get ready for the attendance link in the chat in just a few. But again, feel free, it's a very informal session. You're welcome to come off chat if you have a question, or come off mute. That makes more sense, or put a question in the chat. Yeah. I will say, I just kind of want to talk all of you up for a minute, preparing for the session and just kind of getting to see the work that you all do. I think one thing that I appreciate more than anything is you are trying different features. For better or worse, you may try something and, hey, this didn't particularly work for me and my students, but collectively, you all have really embraced a lot of the features in Brightspace. So that I really appreciate Amanda in particular. I saw that you used the text submission with a rubric with your second graders, which was cool to see. I really appreciated that. Alex, I know you're big on differentiating for your students, and that's awesome. Jeremy, your game maps and awards, I feel like we are kindred spirits. That's my jam. And Mike, you're next level with your self-paced. So I really appreciate all that you guys do. I will get ready to put the attendance and evaluation in the chat. If anybody, like I said, wants to stick around and ask our panelists a question, feel free. We do have a few more minutes. Don't forget, there is a final wrap-up session. So make sure you look at the session catalog to get back to that final session for the final eval.
I was going to say rubrics have been my new favorite thing lately
Very
for
cool.
writing, because I have them type up their final writing, and having those rubrics, they can also see it and visually see everything.
I mean, the text submission with the rubric, it's so, once you get into that groove, it's powerhouse.
I think the one thing I don't like about the text submission is it doesn't save if they don't finish it.
Yeah, so Alex actually brought that up, and one recommendation I had for him in the meantime is to try that through discussions. You get all the same tools and features as you would an assignment, but the discussions, they can go back and edit their posts. So just an option for
Good
editing.
to know.
Yeah. Jillian, I see your hand up.
Hey, I just was curious because this is a group of, teachers who are, teachers who use Brightspace and like using it. What the teacher buy-in at your school is like with it. Mine is sort of like here and there, and I kind of assume that's the case, but I didn't know if you guys have made any headway with that or had any tips or tricks or anything related to that.
No, we have the same where it's a lot of here and there. Some teachers are using it a lot. Most of the teachers that are in my department with me use it really heavily. And, but yeah, it varies from teacher to teacher and from department to department.
It varies. I think I have a mixture of like cajoling and incentives. I have a pretty good relationship with a lot of staff, and I think I try to like leverage that piece of it on there, and we have other people that help me with that. And then just kind of connecting it to like broader instructional stuff is really helpful. Like Morgan and Tracy are going to come do an Adobe Express PD, and then kind of like bringing that back to like why we use tech. And so not just, I think sometimes like the word Brightspace just, conjures certain things for certain people. So just trying to like broaden it a little bit and just kind of making tech a part of like everyday classes and then kind of looping back, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure if it's Brightspace or if it would be no matter what we were using. People mention, oh, I miss Google Classroom. And I know that it's a little bit more intuitive, but I also feel like it's really simple. And I think teachers kind of get overwhelmed with how many different things you can do on Brightspace. And I'm trying to make them understand that you don't have to do everything. You should just pick a couple things that, you think might work for you. So when I do PDs at my school, I try to highlight, like the last one I just highlighted, Creator Plus and the media library, and just showed them things that I actually use, because I'm like, if it's not useful, I'm not going to use it. And then after today, I really like the discussion feature, and I want to start integrating that more. And I'm going to definitely check out the game map, because I think that could be really cool too. But yeah, I was just curious. It's just hard because like you are investing a lot into it, and you don't know if, how long it'll be around. But if it was, like, teachers would have the time to like, I kind of at this point, I'm like, why didn't you start 3 years ago or 4 years ago when we first got it? You'd be a master at it right now. But hindsight is 2020.
Yeah, we tend to, well, I try at my school. I think the temperature in the room at my school is pretty similar, but I try to show them, or we try to show them stuff that's repeatable and like can be built upon. We started doing question libraries for subjects. We just have a generic chemistry Brightspace, and all the chemistry teachers will go there and make question banks on all our topics. And now with ChatGPT, I mean, you can rip out like 200 questions in an afternoon. And then that's something we always can pull on, and it's something, they all start using it. And so, yeah, I like your idea. Media center, just little things that they can reuse is a great way to get people warmed up to it.
I know in our schools, especially since the elementary, the older grades tend to be using it more, just because it is a little bit more user friendly for older kids. I know trying to get our younger grade teachers using it regularly is usually a struggle. But trying to find ways to show them how to, utilize the activity feed to, link in those things that they want to do, so that there's not as many clicks as well. So it's, but same thing. It's not all of them using it regularly, but we're also a very small school. So it's kind of half and half.
Jillian, that was an awesome question and a great way to end our session. So thank you all. Feel free to reach out to either Darren or I, but then now you have some new friends to collaborate with. Thank you to our panel. Don't forget to join that last session, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone.